Make sure you roll a towel about 2 inches thick so that it's laying directly under your forehead. It gives you room to breathe. Okay, arms flat, chest flat, everything lined up. And bend the knee 90 degrees and keep the ankle at 90 degrees as well. So this is your starting position. This is your number 1 position. Stretch out your leg as if to make your leg grow longer so that your hip is flat against the floor. There's no space between the hip joint, if you could point to it, Claudette, and the ground. Make sure that is completely flat. Now go ahead and squeeze the hamstring muscle, which is this big muscle here. It's not about how high you lift your knee, but how strongly you can send signals to the right muscles that we are trying to strengthen. So don't try to cheat by allowing your butt muscles to fire and your low back muscles to fire, hence twisting your low back. And if your knee happens to come off the ground, it's fine, but the intention is to send signals from your brain all the way down to your hamstring to create that pathway, so that every step you take is going to be recognized. This muscle will be activated. So we'll have you squeeze up 2, 3 counts. Hold it there at the maximum point for 3 counts. 2, 3. Lower it slowly for 3 counts. Okay, keep it in number 1 position. Knee at 90 degrees, ankle at 90 degrees. Okay, squeeze up. 2, 3 again. Hold. 2, 3. And release slowly. 2, 3. One more time. Squeeze up. 2, 3. Hold. 2, 3. Release it slowly over 3 counts. And you can rest your leg. So that's 1 set. You're going to do 3 sets of 3, resting about 30 seconds in between. Because remember, we are working on weak muscles. So we don't want to push more, because your stronger muscles will dominate and take over, and your weak muscles will never get a chance to be stronger. Now we're going to do a variation. If you have medial meniscal problems here, your knee is worn out on the medial side, chances are your hamstrings are weaker on the inside than the outside. If the medial hamstrings are weak, it's not going to contract and release as efficiently as it should be. Hence, your shock absorbing capabilities are diminished, and your joint is going to suffer. And this is when, over time, if you don't strengthen this inside muscle, you're going to have bone on bone. You're going to wear out the cartilage. So in order to emphasize the inside part of your hamstrings, so what we want to do is get more signals from your brain to this muscle. And we do that by letting your leg drop out away from the midline. So we're going to expose the inside part of the hamstring a little more. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Make your leg grow longer by flattening the hip area. We're going to squeeze it nice and tight for 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. Hold it there for 3 counts, keeping the leg dropped out, and release. 2, 3. You drop your foot out away from the midline. Knee turned in so that the foot is actually dropped outside from the midline. Okay, make your leg grow longer so that hip is flat against the ground. Make sure this area is flat against the ground. Make sure the low back's not cheating. Right here is not twisting. Now you want to emphasize the inside part of your hamstrings a little more. Up. 2, 3. Hold. 2, 3. Release slowly. 2, 3. Beautiful. One more time. Okay, keep the knee, bring the knee in a little more, Claudette, line it up with the hip, there we go. Make sure the foot is dropped outside from the midline. Squeeze the muscles of the hamstrings nice and tight so your knee barely comes off the ground. Hold. 2, 3, and release. 2, 3. So that's a little modification for your inside hamstrings. Now, if you have problems with more the outside part of your knee joint, the lateral meniscus, that this is worn out, you have injury to this area, chances are this muscle, the lateral part of your hamstring, the outside hamstring, was not working the way it should, because these muscles serve as shock absorber for your joints. When they fire and contract, it softens the landing. You are absorbing shock here. If the muscles can contract at the same time, it protects the joint. So you have injury to this joint, what you want to do is fire up more of this lateral hamstring. So keep your knee 90 degrees, ankle 90 degrees. You want to drop the foot towards the midline, so turning the knee out. Make sure the hip is flat, the low back is not twisted. Okay, you want to make the leg grow longer here. Okay, knee turn out so the foot drops inside from the midline. Now you're going to squeeze the hamstring muscle with emphasis on the outside. I want you to really feel more on the outside hamstring. Again, the foot dropped in. Make sure the low back is flat on the ground. Both pelvis, both sides of your hips are flat on the ground. Squeeze up. 2, 3, emphasizing the outside hamstrings right here. Hold, 2, 3, and release, 2, 3. The goal is not to lift your knee up, but to squeeze the muscle as tightly as possible. Every time you squeeze strongly, you're actually sending signals to the brain. So here we have regular walking gait. Go ahead. So your arms are swinging nicely. The hands should go in front of the body and then behind the body. In front of the body and then behind the body. And this is how most people walk.